Welcome to Girl Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a great show ahead for you. We are at the Great Dane in the Hilldale Shopping Center, and we're going to be chatting with them about some new beers that they have. So super excited about that. But you're probably wondering, we have a special guest to start the show today. This is Michelle Heitzinger. Thank you so much for being with us. You're with Susan G. Komen, Wisconsin, and you guys have a really important event coming up. It's coming up on May 20th, Race for the Cure. And you guys, this is a new date and a new location.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. It's our 20th anniversary race.
Congratulations.
And yes, I know, 20 years here. It's funny, when we look back 20 years ago, there were 3 major races in this city.
Yeah.
It was Crazy Legs, Sit and Demai, and our race was the 3rd big one, and then the marathon started a couple years later. There are 3 a weekend now, sometimes 3 a day on a weekend. So yes, there's a whole lot more going on. Yes.
Absolutely.
So come out on May 20th and do ours.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. Why should people come to this race in particular? Obviously, your organization, a really important one in our community.
Absolutely. We've got about an $8 million investment just at the university alone. Money raised here stays here. So Komen is big, but Komen is local.
Yeah.
We are the largest breast cancer organization, second only to the U.S. government in funding of breast cancer research. But when you come to a local Komen race, you're funding right here in our community. I'm charged with putting the money back in the community here to fund programming and services primarily for uninsured and low resource women. We call them medically unserved. You know, so it's one thing to say, go get a mammogram, you know, go get things checked out. What if you don't have a regular doctor that you call? You don't have an office that you go to. You call our office and we connect you with the services that you're going to need for this. And again, it can be as simple as a breast problem. You're concerned about something. You don't think it's cancer. And there's a lot of different warning signs now, and that's what's changed as well too. You're not just feeling for a lump anymore. 6 of the 8 warning signs are visual. So if you are concerned about something, you don't have a medical home, you call us, and it's because people have come to Race for the Cure, have given us money, have donated during the course of the year, and that's what we do with it.
That's wonderful. So you reinvest the money locally in organizations that are out there helping with women's health overall?
Absolutely. So we have to do it at the local level, and then the 25% that we send to Komen headquarters goes directly into research. Over $6 million of that has come back to fund research being done at our university hospital. Yes.
Right. That's wonderful. It's good to know that it's all in a big circle and, you know, it's coming back around. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Nice work.
Can we talk about some of the advances that have been made in breast cancer research and treatment?
Yes. Well, just even this organization starting on a promise between 2 sisters started at a time when we didn't talk about breast or cancer in public. Started by a woman who has no medical background. She was a buyer for Neiman Marcus. Nancy Brinker was an admitted dyslexic. Learning was hard for her, but she made this promise to her sister that she would find the cures for breast cancer. She had no idea how she was going to do that. So she started with this Race for the Cure concept. What has happened since then to now, they used to give women mastectomies, take the breast, leave a concave scar, and flood you with chemotherapy whether you needed it or not. We now know that you're programmed differently than I'm programmed, and you're programmed, and what works in your body for medications and treatments aren't going to work in yours, may work in mine, might kind of work in yours. We now know a whole lot more about the biology of this disease, and we know it's not one cancer. A few years ago, our breast cancer researchers at the UW said it's a family of cancers. Thought it was a couple hundred diagnoses. It's now over 1,000 diagnoses for breast cancer. That's why it's so complex and so difficult to get to the cures.
And let's add in there that it's men too.
Yes, it is.
For every 1,000 women diagnosed, a man is diagnosed. So it is a man's issue as well.
So much to learn. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Race for the Cure is coming up on May 20th, so be sure to sign up. You can find more information at komenwisconsin.org. Michelle, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'll have more Girl Talk coming up right after this.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. We're working up an appetite here at the Great Dane. We're going to meet with those folks later, specifically talking about some new brews coming for summer. Right now, though, we're talking CrossFit, and if you haven't heard of CrossFit, you're going to hear a lot about it in the next few months. The CrossFit Games are moving from California to Madison, and our station's going to be covering quite a bit of those games. With us right now, we have CrossFit Recursive, one of the CrossFit gyms in Madison, and I have Nicole Gessler and her daughter Olivia with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having
us.
here.
Wonderful. CrossFit is pretty tough looking stuff, and yet this is Girl Talk, and we want to know why you think women should be part of it.
Well, CrossFit is really good for women because it helps them feel better and look better, and it just helps them gain energy. And that just helps with their self-esteem and self-body image. And we just think that's really important for women and girls of all ages these days.
Feeling physically strong can help you feel mentally strong, don't
Absolutely.
you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, flipping a tire makes you
Good stress reliever.
yes, that too.
And I think there's kind of a stereotype around CrossFit that if you do CrossFit, you're going to turn into this Hulk-looking person. You're going to have, you know, muscles so big you can't even wrap your hands around them. Do you get that big and bulky doing CrossFit?
If that's not your goal, you're not going to. Like some women, that is their goal. You know, the games athletes that we see on TV, they are pretty bulky, but they train 3 days a week, or 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
3 times a day?
Some of them do, yeah.
Holy
like if you're at that elite
smokes.
level.
Sure.
For the general person that's doing it coming off the couch, if that's not your goal, you're certainly not going to get bulky.
Yeah.
You're going to lose some weight, tone some muscles, you know, look better, but definitely the bulky in this isn't going to happen.
Because it's much more difficult to build muscle, right, than just lose fat. Like, you really have to work at building muscle.
Right.
It takes quite a bit of time.
Right. And women, too, don't have enough, usually without some supplements, enough testosterone to really get that big muscle mass.
Okay.
So.
Definitely. It depends on maybe a person's body type.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about who benefits and what are some of the benefits, Olivia?
Well, the obvious answer is everyone. Everyone's going to benefit from CrossFit.
Right.
But more specifically, women who are just looking to tone muscles and trim body fat or just gain energy. And they'll also find that that'll help them improve their sleep and all that kind of stuff.
Good
Just
attitude.
always. Yeah, we always need more
A little
sleep.
bit of sleep goes a long way. Definitely.
Most definitely.
And I know you were talking about supplements, and that obviously kind of leads into nutrition as well, and that's got to play a really big part, right?
Right, right. I mean, you can work out every day, do all this stuff, but if you go home and eat processed foods, lots of calories, kind of the stuff you did at the gym is not really you're not gonna get the results that you want. So nutrition's a really good base. You want the energy, you want that good fuel to do the tough things that we do, and so it's just kind of the base for everything else.
I love that, and it's such a good reminder because I know sometimes I fall guilty of that. I'm like, I just want to eat this whole pan of brownies, but I just exercised. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
And we have a nutrition coach on site too that helps. A lot of people when they first come in will actually start with nutrition even before they start with the workouts and stuff to kind of get that as a good base. It's a really good part of wellness and fitness.
Such a long-term thing, that you need to work on, the longevity of it.
Right.
Awesome.
And a lot of people just don't know. You think, organic or low fat are the things that you want, but they may not always be the healthiest choices.
Boy, you hate the thought of putting in all that work into those workouts and not getting the most benefit you can.
Right, absolutely.
So nutrition makes just smart sense. How has CrossFit helped you specifically, Olivia?
Well, some people do CrossFit just to get better at CrossFit, but my passion is dancing, so I do CrossFit to get better at dancing. It's helped me with coordination, balance, strength, flexibility, mobility, all that.
I love that. I'm not sure that people would necessarily think of those two together.
Yep.
Again, CrossFit, it's a mix of kind of a bunch of different sports, running and rowing and gymnastics and things
cardio.
like that, and cardio, sure. And to think of a dancer as lean and elegant, I love that. That's really interesting.
So if people want to get started, Nicole, how can they do so?
The easiest way is going to either be to call the gym or to go online and schedule a no sweat introduction. And so, so it's not scary. You're just going to come in. We're going to talk about what your goals are, where you're at, and the best way to reach those goals. And you can do that right on our website or give us a call.
That doesn't sound scary at all.
No pressure.
All right. Well, Nicole and Olivia are with CrossFit Recursive, and we'll be right back with more Girl Talk right after this.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. We are at the Great Dane today in the Hilldale Shopping Center, and we'll be chatting with them a little bit later on in the show. But first, we have the pharmacist of shoes. That's your new title. I'm giving it to you. This is Herb Hirschfeld. He's with Morgan Shoes. He's one of the co-owners, and he's a board-certified podorthist. Did I say that right?
You did.
We've been practicing.
Podorthist. And basically what that means is when people come into the store, you can help them find the right shoes based on their needs. So a doctor kind of identifies those needs, and then you help them find the right shoe. Is
Correct. And
that right?
sometimes if people can't come in and see a doctor, they'll come in and a podorthist can evaluate the foot.
Perfect.
We can recommend a type of orthotic and or shoe that will help to displace pressure throughout the foot so their feet feel better.
We all want that, right?
I could just jump in here. I think it's worth mentioning, Irv, you mentioned how many stores actually have a board-certified podorthist.
Yes.
What was that number?
There's less than 2% of stores in the United States that have one
Wow.
board-certified
Whoa.
podorthist.
Wow.
This is
And
kind
we
of
have
a big
two.
deal.
You have
And we have
two?
two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just rocketed through all those stats.
Yeah.
we try.
Good.
And today we're going to talk about how shoes really impact your life. I mean, I think we've all been there where you're at an event or you're doing something else or you're walking around for the day, or you're on a trip, maybe a vacation, and if you don't have the right shoes, man, you're in a lot of pain by the end of the day. And why would you say when people come into Morgan Shoes, you guys recommend that they get their feet measured every time? Why is that so important?
Well, probably about 80% of the people, that might be a low number, that walk into our store for the first time might not be in the right size shoe, in our opinion.
Okay.
Everybody has different opinions on what size they are, but the size of a shoe doesn't necessarily represent the volume of your foot,
Okay.
because people have narrow, skinnier feet, thicker feet, and so size is not really something to get caught up about. It's very important that the shoe, you have the right shoe for the activity you're doing. And so when we measure your foot, we do sit and take the time to talk to individuals to find out what they really want the shoe to do.
Right.
You know, going
Okay.
to a wedding, going to Summerfest, going to Disney World,
Yeah.
the Madison Farmers Market.
Right.
All different needs.
Yes.
All different needs. Definitely. Some of those are more standing, some are more walking, some are walking more quickly or being bustled in a crowd.
Correct. And some you're sitting at a wedding or something too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow, so many things to learn. I know, like Ellen said, I mean, I have certainly had times of I've chosen the wrong shoe for the wrong event. That happened recently, and at the end of the day, I paid for it. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So size isn't as important as far as it's just the fit. You said there's the volume of your foot and how it fits in the shoe and all
Sure.
different angles. So tell us a little bit about orthotics and what that means and how it can help.
sure. Orthotics or inserts or arch supports are a general term. They're things that you put inside of your shoes to displace pressure throughout the bottom of your foot, to make people stand up taller, stand up straighter, to help the body to stabilize your foot so when you are standing and walking, it works more efficiently.
Okay.
I think that sounds so important because we know that whatever problems you got going on down there are going to travel up into your hips, your back, your neck, and
Ankle, knees,
just-
hips, everything.
it's all connected. Now, how about if we talk about kids?
Sure.
So you had said earlier that they should have their feet measured every 3 months.
Yes, for kids, it's very important. Morgan Shoe Stride Right, which is what established Morgan Shoes in Madison, was a kid's store. Kids will grow at all different rates depending on how much food you feed them, how the sun shines on them, and there's nothing really to predict it. And a lot of times, your child's foot will outgrow the width before the length,
Sure.
and shoes can damage a kid's foot. I mean, that can scar them for life. So to make sure that whether you just stopped in and said, can you just check my child's foot, just to make sure they're in the right size, or we think you should come back in a month, you know, it's a free service. There's not a lot of stores that do that.
Wow.
And so to buy shoes on the internet for kids, it's frustrating because parents don't know a lot of the times how to fit a child's foot. And we sit there and we educate the parents, things to look for.
Sure. Wow. You guys
Thank you
have
for that. Yep.
so much knowledge. Oh my goodness. I have so many more questions to ask you, but we're out of time for today. Again, this is Irv. Go see him at Morgan Shoes. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'll be back with more Girl Talk right after this.
Welcome back to Girl Talk. I am just thrilled to be in the brewery itself at the Great Dane Hilldale. I am here with head brewer,
Yep.
Nate Zukas. Did I get that right?
Yep.
And we are literally standing in front of the beautiful silver machinery that makes the wonderful Great Dane that we all know and love. Nate, welcome. Thank you for talking with me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. Behind us we have the
These are fermenters. They're 30-barrel fermenters, and so each one of these holds approximately 60 kegs worth of beer at a time.
Yes, 60 kegs. That's a lot of beer. So tell me this, because I really have no idea. Do each one of these fermenters make a different brand of Great Dane beer. Each one like has a little label on it that says this is for whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not static, so sometimes different beers move around in different ones.
Okay.
But at any one point in time, there's only one beer inside of here. So inside of this one right now is actually Crop Circle Wheat.
That's my favorite.
We're actually moving this over into serving tanks so that on Monday we can fill 400 cases of Crop Circle Wheat.
Which is very exciting because this is now in a can.
This is now in a can. This is one of our most popular beers. It's perfect for summer, and it's our new 6-month seasonal. We had Scotch Ale in cans before that, and that's pretty much sold out. For summer, we have Crop Circle Wheat now, and so we're pretty excited about that. We just did our first run of cans about 2 months ago, and we're going to do another run of cans this coming Monday.
Exciting. Well, Crop Circle Wheat is fantastic. It's the first Great Dane beer I ever had. And they usually serve it. It's on tap at all of their breweries as well. And it comes in this beautiful long glass with a big old lemon on top, if I'm correct. So it's very refreshing in the summer, and they have their outdoor seating at all of the locations.
Pretty much every location has some, in fact, not pretty much, but definitely every location has some outdoor patio seating. So, yeah.
So we can definitely look forward to enjoying some Crop Circle Wheat in cans. And let me just pick your brain quickly.
Yeah.
I know there's difference in taste when it comes to on tap or draft beer versus drinking it in a can. Some folks like to take the can and then pour it into a glass. Touch on a little bit what makes the difference there, if you could.
You know, part of the sensory experience, or what happens when you taste anything, is that it's not just your taste buds on your tongue. It actually involves your olfactory or your aroma senses. So when you drink something, you're actually smelling and tasting at the same time, and that's actually what gives you the full flavor of whatever you're consuming. So you might, remember in the middle of winter when you have a head cold and you're trying to eat something and you just get really no flavor out of it. That's because your nose is stuffed up and you can't smell anything.
Awesome. So this is some good knowledge about how everything is connected, and this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but where they get the idea or the statement, the bouquet, when they're talking about wine and beers.
And beer. They both have bouquet.
And you
they both have an aroma.
And taste.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
And those aromas then pair on your tongue with different flavors, and that's what gives you the total sort of sensory sensations.
Sensory sensation. So if you want a really good excuse to drink really delicious beer, just tell people that you're interested in a new sensory sensation that we learned from Nate here, because you just have to do it. It's about medical information at this point.
Absolutely.
It's really important.
Very important.
Glad we got that checked off the list. All the serious stuff out of the way. Tell me about this fun little orange can I have in front of me. What is this all about?
So that's our new summer seasonal. It's called Orange Crush. It's a Belgian style ale that we made here at Hilldale, and it is a German hop called Mandarina Bavaria and orange peel. Now, Mandarina Bavaria has somewhat of a tangerine-like character, and then adding the orange peel, it's not a lot, it's just a little bit, so it gives it a nice, very citrusy characteristic. The beer itself is a very fruity flavor, so it kind of works well. It's low in alcohol, and it's extremely refreshing for summer. So it's a great patio sipper as well.
So we've got one with a little citrus action that you can add a lemon. We've got a little citrus action here do you serve it with an orange? Would this one be
you
good
could
with a
serve
little
it in orange.
Squeeze?
This one's going to be a little more soft and round on the finish, and that one's going to have a little more of a bite. It's a little more crisp.
Okay. Well, in a moment, we're actually going to try these here at the Great Dane. I'm very excited about that. Very lucky to be in the brewery itself. I'm going to ask a little bit more about your history as a brewer. So how did you get started? How long have you been doing this? What does it take to be you?
Well, I think it's been 8 years, almost 8 years since I've been brewing here. What does it take? A lot of luck. People ask me all the time, how did you become a brewer? I was here at the right place at the right time. I had a history with the company, and it just kind of worked out where they needed someone. So I started working, a couple days a week here, and a round peg fit a round hole, and they never got rid of me.
They just liked you too much. They couldn't. They're like, well, we're going to teach them how to actually make stuff here now. That's a really cool story, because I think a lot of people, when they talk about how they became what they became, I think that there's luck with everything that everyone does.
It's a lot of happenstance in your life. You never know what's gonna exactly end up.
It's good to not admit that, but to share that with people and say a lot of people say, well, it was because I did this, and this, and you're saying I was in the right place at the right time. It's a good thing.
I mean, I thought I was going to be a professor, and now I end up running a brewery. So
Hey, that happens to the best of us. You never know. Sometimes it's the people you meet, or where you happen to be sitting and having a beer at that moment. You talk to the right guy, right?
Absolutely.
Or the right woman.
Yes.
Absolutely. So again, we are sitting here in the brewery itself. So this encompasses, each one of the locations has a brewery in the restaurant and bar, obviously. They make all their own beer on site. The breweries are set up a bit different within each Great Dane location. This one, the Brew House and the brewery machinery is all encompassed in one. What makes it the Brew House? What does that mean, the house itself? What's going on
So
there?
the brew house, it's kind of an old term, and so back before they had, CO2 injection and motorized pumps and all these things, beer had to be made with liquid moving with gravity. So it conditioned at the bottom in the cellar, so that's where it was then served from. But the first stage of it was brewing up top.
Okay.
And so the brew house, it was literally looked like a little house on top of a big building, and that is where your wort is made, and wort is pre-beer or pre-fermented beer.
Wort.
Worts,
Oh, never heard of that
W-O-R-T.
before. Okay.
So then you make that wort, which is a combination of a sticky sweet liquid and a bitter herb, so hops and barley sugar. And then that liquid is then put into a fermenter. So the brew house is literally just look like a house. So that's kind of how it got its name.
Awesome. So we have a little bit of history happening here of why it's called a brew house. Okay, really quickly, let's crack these suckers open. Have a cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Nate. And here's to the Great Dane. We are so happy to be here. That's delicious. Orange
Thanks.
Crush, come and get it. Crop Circle Wheat, come and get it in a can. Nate Zukas,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Head brewer here at the Great Dane Hilldale. Thank you for joining us on Girl Talk, and don't miss the next Girl Talk segment. Thank you.
Thanks.